Hello, you're on Uni channel. I am Rose. 10 facts about Linus Torvalds. Here are some facts that you need to know about Linus Torvalds and his journey of developing Linux. Linux was a personal project. Linus Torvalds decided to build a Unix clone from scratch as he didn't have enough money to buy a Unix system. Who in the world would, thought a 21-year-old Finnish teen, would literally change the world with his groundbreaking project? Linux was previously called Freax. Linux was originally called Freax until the administrator of the server that Linus used to distribute the original code named the directory to Linux, a combination of two words, Linus and Unix. Linus Torvalds has used only one social media website. The only social media website that Linus Torvalds used is Google+, which was shut down by Google. He once said in an interview that social media websites like Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram are a disease. Linux is not the only popular software that he created. Linus Torvalds also created Git to maintain Linux, which is the version control software used by almost all the developers today. The reason why he created Git was he wasn't satisfied with other version control systems. Linus badmouthed Nvidia. In an interview, Linus said he wasn't happy with Nvidia and called it the single worst company, and also complained that the hardware giant didn't care about his open source OS. He knew exactly where the camera was, so he turned around and dropped an F-bomb. Linus has retired, kind of. Today Linus only works on merging the code sent by Linux kernel contributors from across the globe and does not code that often. A penguin beat Linus Torvalds. The concept of a penguin came from Torvalds himself, but Larry Ewing first created Tux, Torvalds Unix, in 1996. He said, "I've been to Australia several times these days, mostly for LinuxConf, but my first trip, and the one when a ferocious fairy penguin beat me, you really should keep those things locked up," was in 93 or so, talking about Linux for the Australian Unix users group. Chill devs. Even Linus hates C++. Linus often jokes about how the entire Linux kernel would compile faster than a C++ program. In 2007 he said, "C++ is a horrible language." Linus is lazy. Linus table is full of hardware, like hard disks, tangled cables, and stuff that he doesn't use more often. When asked about it, he described it as crap that I don't use anymore, and he's lazy to throw them out. He also added that the pile of HDDs on his table has been accumulating space for almost 15 years. Well, that was 5 years ago, so the disks have probably turned 20. Linus Torvalds turned down Steve Jobs' offer. In the year 2000, Steve Jobs offered him a job to work on Apple's Mac OS, which he rejected and proceeded to work on the Linux kernel. Imagine if he had joined Apple. With just over 2% OS market share, Linux still has a long way to go, but the speed at which the OS has progressed indicates that it will get more popular over time. Also, it's predicated that Linux market share is going to increase by 19% by the end of 2027.